This is where the fun begins.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM, with these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis, and so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. That's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
I had a friend who was working with me at Spectrum Holobyte who went to LucasArts, and so he convinced me to come over there, and I fell in love with LucasArts, and I was always a Star Wars fan, and went out, and those guys took me out to lunch at the ranch and got to meet George and, all the great things they used to do in the early days when you joined LucasArts, and they basically said to me that I could come and do whatever I wanted. Whatever game I wanted to build, I could build up a team and go build it.
Are you sure?
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. How are you guys doing? And welcome to CAF Chat, our Thursday morning meetup to talk about George Lucas era Star Wars news, and beyond. So how are you guys doing? And this image here, these brain pops, is dedicated to one of my mods, Scran. Yeah, if you don't know the lore about this, basically, someone went in and started just harassing him over him just talking about Dark Lord, right, the Darth Vader, and then decided to call him a brain lollipop or whatever. So, and that cracked us all up. So now it's just time just to have fun, laugh, make humor of stupid shit. So this is dedicated to Scran, my mod, Mr. Brain Pop. And I was gonna try to get this a series of images of brain lollipops up and then have the song lollipop. I just didn't get to it yet. So this is what I have for now. And I'm waiting for another video to finish uploading because it is our discussion, because we're moving on to Trader in New Jedi Order. And so I have a clip that I am going to share with you guys. And we're going to discuss Jason's captivity, his torture and manipulation within the events of this time frame. We know that he's captured. This is a big, huge event because we have a Skywalker child. Basically, he is a Skywalker still, who has been captured by the Vong, right? And they... and this is a secret conditioning or manipulation. So we'll get into that. So how are you guys doing? How's your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world? I know I have a few of you that tune in from different areas of the world. Thank you so much for your support. Yeah, I'm doing good over here. So the most important question is, what is in your mug? What are you enjoying today as you sit and spend this time with me and others here on CAF Chat? And my people on Rumble, what's up? How are you guys doing? Yeah, Rumble. Going to be another major platform for CAF Chat. Well, not only CAF Chat, for OG Star Wars channel. Building that slowly but surely. So hello, you guys on that end. How are you doing? And if you're catching the replay, let me know. Comment below that you are here. And as always, everybody, no matter replay or not, hit the like button and share the stream out. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see what you guys have to say. So today's agenda is, of course, new Jedi Order lore talk, the events of Traitor. So that timeline. So we're moving past enemy line duology and getting into Traitor events. So that goes into captivity of Jason Solo. And we may get into a little bit of talking about how his character progressed to what it was we see in Legacy and beyond. So that will be an interesting discussion, right? So we all know the Austin verse, aka Denning verse, people. And then on top of that, we are going to get into our book of the week, our LucasFacts, and Cringe Factor is going to be a whole plethora of some BS that has happened recently. Main one is basically someone threatening harm if you are an EU fan. An EU purist basically is what is said. And so I'm going to share that, as well as what the scriptwriter, the developer of that of the Ben Solo movie, The Hunt for Ben Solo, or whatever it's called, what he has to say. So that's going to be an interesting bit there, an interesting bit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take this down. The brain lollipop. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, lollipop. There we go. And there we go. So let's see who's in the chat. Who's been hanging out, waiting for us to begin and are coming in. So we have Rodimus Prime. How are you doing? Welcome and good morning. It's morning here. So I'll say good morning where I'm at. And Double A, yes, yes. What's good? Oh, life is good. I woke up. Yeah, I'm here. Looks beautiful outside from it being stormy and rainy the last couple of days where I'm at. Got fresh water, fresh rain. So the air is good. Life is good. Yeah. All right. And then we have my mod, one of my mods, Scran, Mr. Lollipop Brain, or Brain Lollipop, whichever order you want to say that. That was super good, funny. I need to clip that scene from his video. But yeah, but I will let him have fun with it. I'm gonna wait for him to have fun with it Monday. So stay tuned for his live on Monday. He's going over Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. So very great book. And it is a part of the, was it called Dark Lord Trilogy or whatever? So it consists of Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. So that is in itself such a spectacular read if you choose to read those together. Labyrinth of Evil is intended to be a prequel novel to the movies and even the novel of Revenge of the Sith. So, yeah. All right, so let's see who else is here. I know I got Rodimus, but I'm going to go ahead and read this right here. Hey, OG, have you read Jango Fett? Open season, because Jango Fett's story is interesting and tragic. Yes, I have. I think we did a lot of comics during the time when I had Stig here co-hosting CAF Chat. But I think we went through Jango Fett open season. I could be wrong. I know we did Blood Ties. Yeah. I thought we did. I could be wrong. Okay. But yeah, I have read it before. I do have it. Very good read. And the art, I'd say it's pretty good. I need to go back and review some of these comics for their art style. And speaking of art, OG Star Wars or OG Art Challenge. Now I'm not saying I dropped the ball on that. I just went down with the flu. It hit me hard. Then it went through the family. I made an announcement on my Discord, and I'll make it here. And I was planning a couple of days ago to come live to do the art, to spin the wheel, have the little wheel, spin it to see who wins a copy of any of my art that they wish to have. So I will take care of that pretty soon. But I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Didn't forget. And those who participated, thank you so much. I enjoyed your interpretation of the character and its themes behind the character. All of you guys shared something completely different but also very fascinating on your approach. And this art challenge wasn't basically like your skills and how well you can produce art. It's about getting into the theme and expressing through art that theme. So I might have one in another 6 months or so. So stay tuned for that. But I apologize. Well, yeah, I apologize for being sick and not being able to follow through with what I wanted to at the end. So stay tuned for the announcement on who wins. Now, Scran got 2 entries, and the other 2 I'm just going to go ahead and throw in there because each one of them, their descriptions as well with the themes for like Han, I think it was Han and or Leia and Jaina or something like that was amazing too. And it's always hard to do these challenges and be the person to make the decisions on like who was the honorary mention of the week and all this other stuff. So I look forward to see who wins a copy of one of my art pieces. Yes, and my other mod, what's up? How are you doing? Follow OG on Twitter. Yes, follow me on Twitter where you're going to see me trigger a whole plethora of Disney shills, whether it's the Anbor people or beyond, or the Green Dolls who are pretend posers of, oh, I love the EU, but then go and bash it, and even George and some authors. Now, you don't have to, as a person who is a George Lucas era Star Wars fan, not just the EU, but I'm considered an EU elitist, a purist, whatever that is, whatever that word that they like to throw out, thinking it's an insult or whatever. It's kind of funny, right? Using EU purist or elitist or whatever as an insult. No, I take it as a compliment. Thank you very much. But however, I'm more of a George Lucas era Star Wars fan because I love the movies. I love George's contribution to the EU because he is the one who created what we know now as the EU, the expanded universe. So, and there's things I like and I don't like. And there's, I think there are stronger authors within who have written for George, and there are weaker, but I'm not going to go and completely bash because I don't like a certain author or their approach. But anyways, that's just me. That is just me. So Star Wars Marvel Pierce on the Rumble side. Cat, get away. No, go. I have a cat trying to get onto the keyboard here. And that would be hell if he disconnects me from this. All right, so let me read this. So on the Rumble, all my people on Rumble, people don't be a Rumble. Let's get over there and follow my studio. Follow me. Let's get going on that side. All right. So he says, my CAF is fired up and ready to go. Like and repost the stream on Rumble. Yes, I just did. Thank you so much. Awesome. So he is a mod over there because I figured since we're growing that platform, and I do get people over here, hate watchers and stuff. And so over there, I will probably need something similar. So, but with those who come into Hate Watch, thank you so much for your continued support. And this is what I have for you.
Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Bitch, sit down. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with them. The industry can hate me, fuck them all, ain't they mama?
All right. So thank you for holding it down over there. I know with platforms, no matter where you're on, like Rumble or YouTube or whatever, sometimes morning shows, especially during the weekdays, because, you know, work, all of that. Followers, people who can view are not as big as in the evening time, but I do get a great crowd here. I do. There's times where I'm almost at 70, 80, and there's times where it's intimate, we're at 22. So again, it's just what's going on with people's lives. But those who are here, thank you so much for continuing to support. Let's see here. And Batsy is here. How are you doing, Batsy? I hope you're having a good Thursday. And let's see here. And Gordon is here. How are you doing? Hello there, Alora and chat. How are you doing? And I hope everyone has their brain lollipops. Yes, bring your brain lollipops with you and let's have some fun. Nazo is here. How are you doing? And let's see who else. Let's see here. Oh, the brains are the lollipops jokes. Damn, I am stupid. I think you need to catch up on the lore, what happened on Scran's, to Scran, what happened. I mean, we watched it all go down. I was there. I was cracking up. It was so fucking funny. Oh my God. I can't believe the person really, really stuck to it with it and not realizing that he was being made fun of for what he said. And it's just, it's not even an insult anymore. It's a fucking joke. Oh, gee, somebody told me, does the EU doesn't fit with the movies because Anakin never destroyed the Sith because the Sith returned with Lumaya and Jason Solo and the clone Palpatine. What's your opinion? The prophecy at the time was someone is coming in to destroy, the dark side, the Sith, basically. And it doesn't mean forever. There's no indication that it's forever. They're going to forever be gone. It's all about restoring back the light side, basically the balance, which is the light side. And like I said, it doesn't, these damn cats, it doesn't, there's no information on forever, or that the Sith, dark side entity of the Sith and stuff are completely destroyed. It's about at the time. And so that's how I see it. That's how it's very much interpreted from the prequels all the way into, I guess you could say, legacy. Yeah. So I would question that. I would say, okay, so where does it say that the Sith can't return? And where does it say that that it's supposed to hold for X amount of years or what have you? So prophecies, once they're fulfilled, then they're fulfilled. And it's for that time and place when that event happens and stuff. So I don't think some people understand prophecies are what George was going with. Brain lollipop. How are you doing? I know, it's hilarious. Unplug from the YouTube matrix. Join us on Rumble. Rage Against the Machine or Mega Corporation Machine. Yes. I'm holding on to my YouTube for the time being. I like to do all across platforms, but yes, we want the Rumble to grow. We want to support our gatekeepers and our fellow friends who are on Rumble. So go over there and follow, subscribe. Basically, subscription is membership. Following is subscription. So kind of different lingo here, but it's all the same. So go over there, follow, subscribe, support, all of that. The brain lollipop. Okay, so let me see here. Did I miss anybody? I know you guys are having a good. Oh, Mike is here. How are you doing? My birthday was 2 weeks ago. Recently picked a Wedge's Gamble. Oh, as a birthday gift? Happy birthday. I think, did we wish you a happy birthday 2 weeks ago? I know I did for someone. But anyways, despite that, happy birthday to you. And what a great gift. Wedge's Gamble. That's the taking back of Coruscant. And then also the supposed death of Corran Horn. So spoilers, a little bit of spoilers, a little bit of, I would say, more intrigue. Like if you haven't read Wedge's Gamble, I would say start from the beginning in the X-Wing series. But Wedge's Gamble is the taking back of Coruscant from the Empire, or the Imperial remnants. And very good book to read. But like I said, I would read them all together. And I would read the complete series. And it's not just called the X-Wing series. It is, or not, it's not called the Rogue Squadron series. That's what I meant. It's the X-Wing series. And that includes the beginning of the introduction of the Wraith Squadron. So it doesn't mean that they're two different series because you have Rogue and then Wraith. It's just we have the introduction of the Wraith Squadron within the X-Wing series. It's still about the X-Wing. It's still about a group of people. Yeah. So, and the main person along all of this basically is Wedge. So get the series if you haven't. Very amazing. And we will talk a little bit about the X-Wing series too when we get into Cringe Factor. Not that the X-Wing series is cringe, but what is being said about the X-Wing series versus Andor. All right. Let's see here. It's interesting how Jason goes from one extreme to the other, initially not even wanting to wield such awesome power in the Force to going full on dark side. It's, I wouldn't say it was like a huge extreme change. And maybe it feels like that because there's like a time gap of 6 to 10 years between New Jedi Order and Darkness Trilogy that doesn't share much of this change. And we see, and we'll get into it. I have a video we're going to play. We'll get into it, what I'm talking about. We'll get into it some more. Let's see here. I don't care what your disclaimers are. If you keep insisting the EU isn't canon, you are a Disney shill. Look at you, Leaf Trooper. Shots fired. And we have another channel member here. Hey, what's up, Melissa Lord? Nice to see you. And I hope your day is going well. My toast of my mug to you for coming in as well as everyone else. What is in your mug? All right, let's see here. I know you guys are talking about everything that happened with Scran and his the lore behind Brain Lollipop. Or Lollipop Brain, or whatever you want to call it. Rebel is the true canon. Why YouTube is the communist continuity. Well, I am infiltrating the communist continuity with my stuff here. So, and it's blasphemy to them, right? It's blasphemy. And I see Conrado Javier there, all the way from the Philippines. Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in. And I figured Anakin destroyed the last of the true Sith Lords. Yes, and as you see, and thanks for bringing this up, because I did talk about this like a week ago, I believe. Not here on CAF Chat, but probably on Twitter or something like that. But by the time we get to Tenebris, and yes, I did talk about it last week on that last CAF Chat, but by the time we get to Tenebris, we start seeing the dismantling of the rule of two. And by the time we get to Jason, that right there is just like, it's like a shell of what Bane created. And then we in the background, we have the one Sith. And then we learn about the lost tribe of the Sith as we get into Fate of the Jedi. So everything that was created regarding Sith after the defeat of Palpatine and the prophecy of Anakin, all of that, it was all still approved, sanctioned, all of that by George. If he didn't want it and he put down perimeters like no Sith whatsoever, blah, 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 it wouldn't have happened. Now, he did for the new Jedi Order. He's like, no Sith, which is fine. It gave us that, it got us out of the mutiny of like the Imperial remnants versus the New Republic and all of that. But as we get to Jason and the lore past that, he still could have put his foot down and said no. He didn't for that series. So think about it. You know, and then he basically, like if you, and like this is going to be an example, but it's still obsolete when it comes to what is and is not canon. But for George Lucas considering as an idea in the treatments that he wanted, like the treatments that he bargained, negotiated with, and sold to Disney, you have Maul and Darth Talon as antagonists. And in that, he takes her as an apprentice, even though he's quote unquote a warlord or whatever that may be speculated or approached on and stuff. He takes her as an apprentice. That almost feels like it's a Sith rule of two thing, right? So it's just something to think about. It's not relevant to what is canon or not, but it just goes back to just like thinking, okay, so where was he going with the thoughts and what did he plan? And on top of that planning, his authorization of these stories to be a part of the saga. So there we go. So it's always fun thing to look at and speculate, even though it's irrelevant when it comes to the treatments, right? And you can't treat them as a weighted substance for what is and isn't canon either. Wedge's Gamble is great. The next X-Wing books are covering on Bane's holocron. Yes, exactly. And I meant to say that, but thank you so much for sharing. He is, if you haven't seen it yet, he is covering the X-Wing series. And I was going to share proof with you. I found proof that these green dolts and a lot of these guys are actually following you on what you're reviewing and stuff, because they even admitted that you got them into the X-Wing series. So there you go, sir. There you go. Confirmed. I'll have to find that and share with you here soon. Okay. What happened to Scrandian fight? Was it cool? Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and get into our little segments here, and then we'll get into my video is now up and ready to go. I just got to pull it up and we can watch it once we get into the topic. But first of all, let's get into our LucasFacts. Oh God, I always lose where I put the damn little clip to start it. There we go.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right, so here we go. LucasFacts. So here on YouTube, if you want the source, it's going to be posted. It should be posted by now. But the source is on my YouTube page, our post section. And you can even scroll down for the whole whole text subject of this as well. So, well, nearly 3 decades of contributions by storytellers other than George Lucas have yielded some great Star Wars moments. There have been some slight bumps along the road to creating this massive and diverse shared mythology. So this is a diverse shared mythology by George Lucas, bringing in creators to share the stories, this mythology through many, many different type of mediums. I might act like there's a million of them, right? But you know the mediums. So I'm all exaggerating here. But so we have the movies, we have shows like cartoons, all of that. We have novels, we have comics, we have young readers, young adult novels as well. And I already said comics. We have also the games. So any way that a fan can interact and enjoy Star Wars, there is something for you. Something for you. And a lot of us, not all of us, came in through the movies. There are some that also came in through the comics or the games. And maybe a place that no people think of jumping in on, like the Old Republic, right? So there is a lot. Some of, like me, I came in through the movies because I wanted to see what happens with Luke, Han, and Leia. I was intrigued. I wanted to know more. And that's what got me into Star Wars further. You could say that George created this foundation. The foundation holds up the building. The building, basically the structure is built on that foundation. And as you step inside, you can choose where you want to start off with each era. You can choose how you want to begin. Like the movies, basically you come into the movies, majority, not all, like I said. You can pick up a novel. It could be a game, especially if you're a huge gamer. If you're more of a comic visual reader, then it's a comic, right? So beautiful foundation that George invited, and he didn't just bring anybody in. These people had to be well-known professional writers, accomplished writers in their genre. And they still had to meet specific tenets and stuff like that to be considered. So it is a great, great foundation that George made for the saga that these creators helped build upon so that we can come in and continue our enjoyment of the saga through any media we wish. Now, you do have what we say is normies, and that's only the moviegoers, and that's fine. And that don't want to read. I would still say, hey, dude, you're missing a lot. Like, you're missing some great fucking stories. But if you want to stay there at the movies, that's fine. That's cool, But you will build so much more imagination and intelligence through reading. So with that being said, this is our book, or not our book, our LucasFacts. Now, the Insider 83, page 486. So this comes from Insider 83, page 46. Page 46. So those who want to, if you have Insider 83, you can find it there. You can find it there. All right. So there you go. Book of the week. Geez, I keep on saying book of the week. LucasFacts. LucasFacts. There you go. All right. So with that being said, creating a bigger, larger conversation with you guys, where did you begin? I know some of your guys' origin stories already, but if you want to share your origin stories for Star Wars, share in the chat right now. We are going to go ahead and you can share now. Well, I get us into the book of the week. But, speaking of Wedge.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
If an item doesn't appear in our records, it does not exist. Yep. Disney Star Wars is fake Star Wars. It's only in name, right? So, book of the week, Children of the Jedi. How many of you guys read this or know of this? And the story behind this. And basically, this goes into Luke's, I wouldn't say his first love, but it's his first major love. And we'll get into this. So this book is by Barbara Hambly. Cover artist Drew Struzan. Yeah, if you haven't recognized the style and everything, this is a Drew Struzan painting cover. And hardcover came out May of 1995 and paperback July 1996. The timeline is 12ABY. Now, continuity notes. Callista Ming was originally intended to be the great love of Luke Skywalker's life. As part of an assignment from Lucasfilm to author Barbara Hambly. However, fan reactions over the character Mara Jade from the Thrawn trilogy had become such that Lucasfilm decided that Skywalker and Jade would ultimately end up together. As such, Anderson worked with Hambly to find a way to slowly write Ming out over the course of the next novels, Darksaber and Planet of Twilight, without killing off the character. So what do you think? There's this huge debate on who Luke should have ended up with, whether, Mara Jade, which he did end up with, or Callista Ming. So we have the Callista Ming fans out there. And one of my great friends, Matt Wilkins, is a huge Callista Ming fan. So what do you think? Now, I know you guys are sharing your origin story here. That's pretty cool. Love it. So what do you think? Are you on any sides? What do you prefer? What would you have preferred? Or what do you prefer? Do you prefer Mara Jade or Callista Ming? Now, we already have everything developed now. So we already have this. We already know what happens to Callista. We already know what happens between Luke and Mara and, her untimely death, I guess you could say. Both the loves of his life gone, right? And was it Callista Ming that? Yeah, it was Callista Ming that Abeloth basically used against Luke in Fate of the Jedi. So there you go. So where would you have ended, or where do you think? Dang. Cough. Side piece. Cough, cough. Let's see here. I would have preferred Callista myself. Okay. And let's see here. Let's you with this. Such a controversial book, according to some people, correct? And Melissa Lord, our channel member, her origin story. I started with the adventures of Luke Skywalker from the Journals of the Wills. I read the original 10 EU books from 1988 to 1990 that started reading Heir to the Empire in June 1991. Amazing. Okay, let's see here. I found Callista to be really attractive, maybe a bit more so than Mara Jade, because she didn't have such a pricky personality as Mara. Interesting. Children of the Jedi is so good of a book indeed. Nice recommendation. You are welcome. Let's see here. I got into Star Wars from the games Jedi Power Battles, Dark Forces 1 and 2, and Shadows of the Empire. Let's go ahead and play this clip one more time in honor of Dark Forces.
I had a friend who was working with me at Spectrum Holobyte who went to LucasArts, and so he convinced me to come over there, and I fell in love with LucasArts, and I was always a Star Wars fan, and went out, and those guys took me out to lunch at the ranch, and got to meet George, and all the great things they used to do in the early days when you joined LucasArts, and they basically said to me that I could come and do whatever I wanted. Whatever game I wanted to build, I could build up a team and go build it.
There you go. There you go. Luke was always meant for that Tatooine farmer chick. Was her name Wendy or something like that? Wolfscar, what's up? Here I be. As far as me, and she's all right. I prefer Mara Jade. We got someone that prefers Mara Jade. Okay, cool. And the whole Callisto trilogy is an underrated treasure. Deserves more attention by fans. I agree. I agree. Y'all guys just can't handle red-haired women. Oh my goodness. Best $25 that I spent on a book. Awesome. Yes, yes. And then Pierce here. A lot of old school Legend fans like Shadows of the Empire. Isn't it funny? It's like you can almost go back. You can almost look at a trend. But guess where that trend is set? Through us. If you haven't noticed, the big trend of New Jedi Order after myself, Scran, Purist, decided to bring it out and start talking about it, and all in making fun of Theory and his friends. So there you go. And then Purist now reviewing the X-Wings. And all of a sudden, the X-Wings are now being focused on. And I think we did talk a lot about Shadows of the Empire in the past too. And then there you go. So follow the trend where it starts. We are fucking trendsetters, right? It's fucking amazing. We are amazing. Us EU purists, us EU elitists, us George Lucas era Star Wars fans. Let's see here. Dark Force 1 and 2, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Rebel Assault 1 and 2, Shadows of the Empire, real LucasArts, correct. And I'm always getting some amazing clips that I need to download and put here, and I don't. Watch the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. I feel absolutely nothing but emptiness. Ooh, you watched it. Holy shit. Oh my goodness. I was having fun watching other people's reviews and stuff, and like just really like I have to finish it, but Wednesday nights I work now, so I sometimes or a lot of times I miss Casual Rage with Raging Rhino. Still support the heck out of him. I just our paths don't cross for me to support him when he's live. And so I was listening to it last night, and that's a clip I wish I would have got for today. I could have played it, and I when I was listening to it, I should have just stopped and clipped it so I could share it here. But he's so funny. He was saying something like, "Ooty booty, little cutie fucking Grogu," or something like that when he was talking about it. And it's so funny how he words it. And but that little mobile cradle stroller thing, and I can't think of the proper name of it, where this mom, was it Rodian? Wasn't it Rodian? But anyways, pushing along or moving along with her baby in it, and they're getting attacked, so she grabs her baby out and runs, and then Grogu gets it and takes off in it like it's a speed racer. And I was like, that is a fucking MacGuffin right there. Because why in the hell are you gonna have a little carriage with a repulsor lift on it so it can move along with you, then all of a sudden turn into the speeder racer thing? A baby Greedo. Yeah. That's fucking weird. So I laughed at his response to that as well. I need to finish watching. I got like 2/3 of the way through, and then I was like, it was late and I went to sleep. So I'm gonna continue watching and supporting here in a little bit. But if you haven't had a chance to, if you haven't already, go subscribe to Raging Rhino and go support him as well. The stroller speeder. It's so dumb. Yes, it is so freaking dumb. Oh my God, it's so freaking crazy, right? Okay, so let me go ahead. We're going to get into the new Jedi Order. Let me go ahead and find the clip first. Because we are now in the timeline of my videos. We are now in the timeline of Traitor. And I wanted to get into some talk about the events there. Because it's basically short. Did they put it as a short? I'm looking for it right now. I'm talking. Oh, they sure did. Okay. I don't know why it's a short. It's over a minute. I thought shorts are supposed to be under a minute. There we go. Let me see if I can rewind that. All right. So we are getting the events of Traitor. And I didn't finish reading this continuity, so let me do it because we got into the Callista Ming thing and then I totally just went off from there. So finishing this up, Thrawn was said to have been a high admiral in this book, which is after the Thrawn trilogy. So wording is off here. I don't think it's a big, huge continuity error. High admiral, grand admiral. Okay. And then Luke Skywalker was said to have destroyed the Sun Crusher, which right there is a huge continuity error. Which was a slip up from the editors. So shit like that does happen. But we all know that it was Kip Duran. So yeah. And shit happens, you know, and doesn't mean that, oh God, because Barbara Hamley confused on who destroyed the Sun Crusher. Now the continuity is awful. It's bad. It's the, you know, whatever. So yeah. I just laugh. It's just terrible. Yes, I agree that Grogu versus that Grogu Mandalorian for Grogu trailer. Traitor is one of my favorite new Jedi Order books. Yes, we're going to get into that. So finishing this up here, Book of the Week by Barbara Hamley, Children of the Jedi. There you go. There you go. So let me go ahead and pull up the stream here. We're going to listen to this and we're going to get it into Traitor. But first of all, you know, I want to play this because usually I do, but I haven't done it in a while. Where did it go? There we go.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Amazing commercial right there, promoting the new Jedi Order series. You know, a series that is contribution towards the saga that we know as Star Wars. Part of the movies, continuation, expansion from the movies, right? Spoiler, they won. Let's see here. So let's get into this here.
Jacen Solo hangs in the embrace of pain. The touch of a hand along his jaw leaked time into the white. The tides of agony rolled slowly out, and Jacen could open his eyes. The hand that had brought him out of the white belonged to Vergere. She stood below him, looking up with wide alien eyes, her fingers light upon his cheek. Jacen hung horizontally, suspended face down 2 meters above a floor of wet, slick-looking greens and browns, its surface corded, viney as though with muscle and vein. From the darkness above swung tentacles like prehensile eye stalks, ends socketed with glowing orbs that stared at him as the tentacles wove and danced and twisted about each other. He understood. The enemy was watching. Among our masters, Verger said casually, as though continuing a friendly conversation. It is not shameful for a warrior in your position to pray for death. Do you understand this? Jason understood nothing, except how much he hurt and how terribly he had been betrayed. I trusted you. Jason Solo hangs.
All right. So I didn't get the whole clip I thought I got here. But this is the beginning of the captivity, the manipulation and torture of Jason Solo. And this is headed up, led by none other than Verger. Now there's more to this going on, where she's manipulating and she's telling him, like, you know, you're dead. And he's like, no, I'm not. Why am I hurting so much? So he's questioning her and she's lying. She's manipulating to him after this scene here. And with this, because she even says, he says, you're a Jedi. And she's like, there's no Jedi here. Manipulating. A Jedi would not do that. Someone who is supposed to be said to be the liking of Yoda would not participate in torture, manipulation. And this is not even comparable to what Yoda was doing with Luke on Dagobah. And there's this mind manipulation. There's this continued torture that she oversees. And behind that, the major orchestrator is Nomenor. Nomenor, this is a secret project to see how they can manipulate a Jedi to conform. And he is implanted with the little Orbus. I forget the name now. The little creatures that control and enslave whoever they capture. And I think these ones that he has in him are a little bit more advanced than what we've seen, or maybe a different version from what we've seen when when he wanted to try to rescue those slaves and got captured and Luke had to go rescue him in the past. But we have Verger here. Manipulating, torturing, twisting his mind, making him doubt. Now, is that Jedi training that we've seen before, that was established before? Or is she conforming to her own captivity, her own decision? Basically, she's not a captive anymore. She went back to the Vong, but conforming to the Vong, who are said were cut off from the Force because of how dark they went, how much to the dark side they went. So you see the correlations here. Even Mace, if he had a plethora of apprentices or help train in any areas within the order, and he has, he wouldn't manipulate students like that. And he's the one, I would say, he's more, I guess you could say gangsta, if you want to put some generic crazy terms in there. But he's the one that's more cut edge kind of person, more to the point, more blunt, will tell you like it is. That's how I see Mace Windu as a Jedi, as someone, as a leader. He really knows how to speak his mind. And this day and age, when someone can speak their mind, a lot of people take that as hate, as violence. And I've seen people even you know, project that onto Mace Windu, especially towards the end when you get into Mace's Gen X Jedi, when you get into his dealings with Ahsoka. And all these Filoni Ahsoka fans really hate Mace Windu for basically telling Ahsoka how it is. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So with that being said, Roger, yeah, Jedi from the past, manipulated, tortured, probably turned her dark, and now she's sharing the same methods on Jason. You can't be a captive and someone's confidant and not succumb to their tactics, their evil, their dark side, their ways. And when Matthew Stover wrote this novel, one of the quotes that he has said about Frigere and fans is basically, I want the fans to decide for themselves who Frigere is. And I'm paraphrasing. So he wants fans to make their decision about Frigere. He doesn't want to influence them. He doesn't want to make a statement and influence them. So looking, I've read, this is like my reread of a few rereads. And yes, I've read past. And when you really sit down and analyze what's going on, the Vong, why they were cut from the Force, and their evil tactics, their dark side tactics, basically, and how they see themselves as superior than anybody else, and you have to conform to them. And then Frigere willingly staying with, because there had to be a backstory created why she was with them. And there has to be a backstory created. They needed to be a backstory, which there is, of how she succumbed to their life ways, living with them. And you see it here when she tortures, manipulates Jason. And this is just a clip from the abridged Audible. But when you get into like reading or even listening to the unabridged versions and reading the book, you get more into the manipulation. And you have Jason struggling still. He went in struggling already about himself as a Jedi, about the Force, about the use of the Force. And then to get captured, tortured in the embrace of pain, manipulated, cut from the Force as well, because that happens. And mine that's already like confused, conflicted, is going to succumb to more of that in such a situation. So when you look at the stories going forward, and then him still going on his hiatus, his sabbatical, or whatever you want to call it, on exploring the Force and trying to get more answers and researching other Force societies, that also lends to his demeanor, the torture, what he's gone through. So when you see him in Darkness Trilogy, you could see that darkness starting to happen. I'm putting all these puzzle pieces together. They made Frigere vague. They also made her look like she is, or they all should not look like, they made her actually a manipulator and a torture device, or not device, but leading in that. And then so when you have Jason in Darkness Trilogy, his thinking, his train of thought starts getting dark. And that's even pointed out by Mara. I think that's even pointed out by Luke. I'm not sure. I have to go back and reread, but I know for sure Mara and Luke pointed it out. But as far as Leia, I don't think so. I don't think so. Later on, she does point it out, and that's in Fate of the Jedi. No, Legacy of the Force. I'm sorry. Legacy of the Force. But when you put all these together with the evidence that is shown on these characters and their demeanors and how they are presented and how they act, Danny and even Travis and even Alston and Gold and what's the other writer? Golden or whatever her last name is, basically, they all came to this conclusion. Like it was easily, the bricks were laid out, it was easily done. And whether George was a part of it or not, he had people in place to oversee the story. He had rules set for it. And we know that if there's stories that he didn't care for, they were vetoed. That's even characters, that's even plots, right? So this event of Jacen Solo in his captivity, it's very dark, very, very dark. He does overcome, and his ability to become familiars, friends, get along with other species, helped him out. And he learned how to manipulate through Vergere, which helped him out. And we see that manipulation used in going forward. You're pissing off the bird sexuals. Well, too bad. They can go cry in the corners in their echo chamber, in their bird cage. They can go cry in their bird cage. Yeah, so when we go through Trader, and we're gonna continue this talk next week as well, because I want to clip some more stuff from, and I might even just clip from the unabridged version here on YouTube, and give, of course, a respect back to who is providing this unabridged book to us. But the manipulation and captivity of Jacen, manipulation, torture while Jacen is in captivity. Like I said, the framework was already laid down. So if the authors intended for Vergere to be like this or not, that's exactly how she was created. This is where I say I love the new Jedi Order series. It's within my top 1 and 2 series. Fucking amazing. But the fault is of the authors for not clarifying who Vergere is. She's a Jedi. She's light side. But then why in the fuck is she torturing? Why is she manipulating? And you can thank Matthew Stover. And it's an awesome fucking book. And him saying, I don't want to influence fans on the perception of Vergere. I want them to decide for themselves who she is. And so we have this book here, Trader, and it's not a novel review. It's talking about the events, but we are talking about, the book is about Jacen Solo, basically, and his captivity, and then also fleeing from it and how he does. And I want to get more into that here coming. We are talking about right now his captivity, all of that. So next Thursday, we'll get into his influence in the nursery, basically. And we'll get into also what they grow in there, what's being grown, all the biotech that's being grown, and how he influences, how he took basically quote unquote training from Vergere. And it's so funny that people who are Denning-verse, Alston-verse haters, I guess you could say, that don't like these guys for the story going forward, really say, oh, Vergere was training Jacen. That's fucking training? Torturing and manipulation? That's training? That's Jedi training? What the fuck? And I even had someone tell me before, well, Yoda did this, this, and this, trying to compare his training with Luke and stuff like that with Verger. And I was like, what the fuck? Where are you getting this comparison? Like they were comparing Yoda's training of Luke on Dagobah to what Verger did to Jason. Torture is training to these guys. Torture is manipulation. Torture is breaking someone's soul, breaking someone's demeanor. Training is giving you extra tools, techniques, abilities. There's a huge difference between torture and training, because you still have your free mind, your free will. You can walk away from any type of training if you don't agree with it. Not torture. Yeah, so it's fucking crazy that these people, and guess who they are? The green dots. The green dolts. Yeah. So training. She was training Jason in Traitor. She was training him while he was on the embrace of pain. She was manipulating his mind. And they try to say, oh, well, Yoda was manipulating Luke's mind when he lied to him and when he said this, this, and this. I'm like, oh my fucking God, you. Okay, so I know maybe there's some Gen Zers in here. Love you guys. But there was this recent study of how Gen Zers, and this is just a study, this is what just said, so you can disagree with it, or maybe you can see a point to this and you're like, fucking that isn't me because I know better. But there is a study, a research study, that Gen Z is the most dumb generation. They never, I wouldn't say progress. They never, the study is that they are the dumbest, that they never went and took the mantle to stay up with intelligence, with learning, as every generation following each other. And I know I'm not wording it exactly correct, but I thought that was kind of fascinating, because behind that, it goes into technology being used in schools, and also TikTok, the short attention span, and critical thinking. Critical thinking, because back in the day, Gen X are talking here, but back in the day, and even millennials can even correlate with this, we had to have face-to-face discussion about subjects in school. We had to, even like learning out of a book, a teacher would say, okay, we're going to read through this chapter. I'm going to call on you guys and we're going to read and discuss, pause in between these chapters or these paragraphs, and talk, discuss. And basically there wasn't, for a while there, for me, there wasn't computers, but they slowly started coming in because of the invention and stuff and all of that. And then figuring out math. And at the time, they're like, no calculators. You had to learn this shit on your own. But as you go forward, the more technology introduced and things within the technology, like TikTok and stuff like that, social media, quick response, quick, like instant gratification, has hindered the critical thinking. So think about that. So when you have these people going here and making such claims about like things between training is the same thing as torture, you got to question their critical thinking and how they respond to you. If you talk with them about anything about Star Wars and what you like about your Star Wars, like George Lucas era, and not liking Disney Star Wars, quick response for them, and emotional response for them, and no constructive conversation at all. Now, with me, with my kids, they didn't get their phones. They didn't get phones until their late teens. They weren't on social media until near adulthood. That's just something me and my husband, decided to do. And with that, yeah, you can't control environments of the school and stuff like that. But they love books, because a lot of my family members, both sides of their family, love reading books, love talking about discussing things. We traveled and went to powwows, so they had a chance to sit down and listen to elders, listen to what's going on in the events over there, learning their respect, learning how to communicate with others. And, so there's how I probably raised in Gen Xer style. I don't know. But anyways, going into this and thinking about how people are perceiving training versus torture, and this new upcoming generation and their thought process, their emotional responses, and how they treat others. Like, if you don't agree with you, or you don't agree with them, they want harm on you. And so we're going to come into our cringe factor now, but they want harm on you. And so going into this psychological demeanor of these type of people is scary, but also fascinating, because when you look into the influences and what's going on in today's society, and you can even probably see the closures from the pandemic also contribute to a lot of people's anxiety and stuff, and also how they socialize, right? That could be well said that across all the generations, mine all the way up to the recent. But when you look at the development structure, it feels hopeless. So let me see what you guys are saying. Let me see. I remember my class had to read the Odyssey, and every kid had a role. Yeah, there you go. Back in the day, we had to use Dewey Decimal System. There we go, Dewey Decimal. And I know also what you're referring to, but yes. And then Gen Z and the following generations are fucked. It also is the family structure and how you raise your kids. And I could say I have hope for the future generations in my family, because we are very interactive. We are very much about the family structure and all of that. Let's see here. Stupidity is what happens when you grow up watching Skibidi Toilet instead of Star Wars. Only Sith train with torture, correct. Whistle, whistle to all you Gen Zs. More like Gen Z adjacent. Blah, blah, blah. Sidious torture Maul during training. And I could say, like, my youngest is, and her better half are the beginning of Gen Z, and they're fucking intelligent. But like I said, it's all about how you are raised as well. And not trying to be Native American supremacist. I have to say that. I'm just saying that as jokingly. But, I think in Native culture, because some of the means we have versus what the greater society around us has is lacking, I think there's less influence of this technology, of this short attention span with TikTok and stuff like that, of this influence that you see through the study. And like I said, this is just a study, does not mean all are the majority, but I just thought I would bring that up because, like I said, my son-in-law and, of course, my baby girl, amazing people, amazing people, common sense, all of that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Back in the day, I was in school. I had to read a fallow, and every kid had to do a fucking read and explain it to the teachers within the class, within the classmates, and each kid had a role when reading the book. Yeah. The More of Venice. Let's see here. And yay, we millennials got the win with no dumb now. I love how you type that out. Oh my fucking God. We millennials are the last of the 20th century era kids. Yep. So there is some hope. But like with who is interacting right now when it comes to Star Wars fandom and stuff like that and what's going on, some of these people really, really make me concerned. My first cell phone was at 18. Was a plain Jane a Nokia phone. Nice. Let's see here. And I don't know if any of you guys remember. I forget the name of the type of phone now. It was from Verizon back in the day. And it was green. I think it's called Amiga or Amigo. I think that was the name. But it was green. And it almost looked like Shrek in a way because it had the little like top little antenna, like bulbs on the top there. But basically that phone was a phone that you can give to your kid that really didn't have any social media connections or anything like that. But you can, there's 911 already programmed in there, and you can program 3 to 4 numbers for the child. So it could be parents' numbers and then another emergency number. So they had a phone on them if they need to contact and reach out and stuff like that. But there was no internet, it wasn't a computer in the phone basically. And I did give that to my son and my oldest daughter. And for a time being, and it worked for a time being, and it just fell out because they weren't really using it. We were always with them and stuff like that. And if they need anything, they could call from the school and what have you. So, but I think that Amiga phone was pretty interesting for something, for a useful tool for kids to communicate out. But I was laughing when I was talking about this with someone like just recently. I was laughing like this is like 2 steps from a pager, basically. It was 2 steps from a pager because pager, you would page someone to call you. This one, you would basically just be able to call a few people for emergencies or to contact or what have you. And so I think that was a very mindful tool way to have a phone, but not have have the kids be on social, like internet and all this other stuff at the time. So it was a useful tool at the time, I guess you could say. Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm like, hey, Silver Ogre. Jeez, I always do that. I always fucking do that to you. Yeah. So I thought that study was very interesting. Like I said, it's not the majority whatsoever. And I do know some bright, smart ass, and I say that in respect, smart ass people of that generation. So yeah, but just to break things down with the interactions that happen within the Star Wars fandom and wishing death on people and stuff like that makes you think, and the critical thinking makes you think when you go and look at that study on where the mentality of some of these kids are or what's going on and what happened to like civil conversation. And, we can even say that with ourselves sometimes because sometimes we do myself. I can get heated. I admit it, but I try my best to stay civil in a conversation when I'm having a debate or we're going back and forth about a certain subject. And I think I'm going to say I come at a more civil approach with a lot of things. I don't resort to calling names and stuff until after the fact that someone starts really throwing insults and stuff because for whatever reason, they're pissed at me or pissed about not getting their way or having a civil conversation or not. I don't know. It's all hard to discuss. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our cringe factor. Cringe factor, and it is a multitude of subjects. Let me see here.
So uncivilized.
And you know, when you look at history right now, there's a lot of rewriting of history in a sense to where like historical art and artifacts and stuff like that are now being asked to be taken down, like at Smithsonian and stuff like that. And when you look at Native American history, it was never written fully to tell the truth or tell events that some people I've talked with didn't even know about until I revealed what was going on and stuff. So there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of missing pieces, either in purposeful, most likely purposeful. And you see that going on here today. And I'm going to say that it goes on both sides of the political aisle. And it does a disjustice in the long run for the history of America. But I'm not going to get into politics. This is not what this channel is about. But that is a gist of what's going on. And it's failing these newer generations that go into a very public school outside of some cultures like Native American culture. And then they come up with all these perceptions about us, to even where when I was teaching Native American dance and cultural enrichment here where I live at, I had kids come up to me and ask me, "You guys still exist?" And I'm like, whoa, what? Like where, like it just like, even thinking about it right now, being asked this when they have a local tribe just right in their backyard asking, we still exist. But anyways, I'm going way off the tracks right now. So let's get into what we're going to discuss here. So let's see here. I'm going to pull up the first one here. And then I'm hoping we can get into the conversation more by looking at the comments and stuff. Let's see here. Is this the right one? Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me make the screen a little bigger here. A little bigger. Let me see here. It says, in one of my high school English classes, I was wrong along essay I entitled Electronic Satan, about how these devices control us. Yes, and that's a thing too. We are so addicted to being on the internet, being on social media, all of that face-to-face conversations. And I'm guilty of it too. You know, we are here right now, but face-to-face conversation, people now get anxiety with that, and sometimes even making phone calls. So it's like a huge psychology thing to look into and see how this harms more than helps in a lot of ways. Human species, we are basically a tribal species. We all come from tribes, no matter where you come from the world, within the world. We all come from the tribes. A lot of, like, I would say, the European culture has lost a lot of tribal ways, more so than any place else. But we all came from tribes. And if you could trace back your origins through tribes and stuff, no matter where you come from, you can start looking into those ancient ways, I guess you can say, and how your people coexisted and how they coexisted with each other within these groups of people. But anyways, I'm getting further away from what we're talking about here, but it's an interesting study. It's an interesting thing coming from a person that, my tribe basically is in the Northern Plains, and we still have, our structure. We still have our extended families, traditions that we're still holding tight to, ceremonies, all of that, even though we faced, near extinction and also assimilation and, being shown that we are heathens and wrong and satanic sometimes in some instances for how we have our spirituality, or what you would say religion and stuff like that. So, and that's the basis of the destruction of tribal people throughout the world, is throwing that shit out there like that. But anyways, I'm not here to get culturally political and stuff like that. Just wanted to talk and discuss about how it feels like society now is has changed so much that it's even failing our future generations in some way. But anyways, and this is an example of that. This is an example of that. Okay. So right here, so I get a lot of heat for my love of George Lucas era Star Wars, and also expressing my disdain, my hates, my dislike of what is going on with Star Wars here today under Disney. And and I've been watching these green dolts since they started forming. Weird bunch, very cult-like posers, and they will come at you, attack you if you disagree. They are very Austin Dunningverse type people, and they hate being corrected. They make up stupid shit and think it's factual, and I guess it steers into the Green Jedi of Corellia. And so they worship like the horns and the Green Jedi and what have you, whatever. Have fun with that. But also they really go into the LGBTQ community stuff. And so if you disagree with them, then all of a sudden you're homophobic, which has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Very weird group of people. And yes, and I was going to get to this. When I started the Green Dolt, when I started the Green Dolt Club, I didn't realize they were also stupid. Yeah. So Scran was looking to infiltrate and go within and stuff like that. And man, he pissed off every one of them. So it's funny because they say like we're a cult or whatever, and they don't realize what they're doing is exactly what they're accusing others of. Like I say, like your fandom, like your characters, like your group of Jedi, that's cool. We all have our favorite likes and whatever you want to say within George Lucas era of Star Wars. And a guy named Wes is the person who created it. So like I said, I've been following, observing, researching this group of people for a while now. I brought it up to my fellow Gatekeepers Alliance from the start. Then a lot of them at the time were like, whatever, because they're just little fleas versus bigger fish to fry, basically. But now they're starting to be absorbed a lot more with what's going on with them, what they're doing. So with this says here, aside from rapists, which set of people deserves to be beaten with this? So you have a bat wrapped with barbed wire. And so this Green Dolt, because I pissed him off or countered him and pissed him off. We've had back and forths before. I've had back and forths with many of these guys. He puts Legends purists. He doesn't say EU, but we know Legends. Excuse me, let me clear my voice. We know Legends basically is the branding name that Disney gave the expanded universe. Everyone's a purist, right? So we have this group of people wanting harm, hurt on EU fans. What? Because these so-called purists of this group of fandom maybe has countered you on something you said to correct you or disagreed with you. I disagree with people in my family doesn't mean I want harm. So it's kind of alarming, like the mentality, and it goes back to that study I just talked about. It's like nowadays, this day and age, like a civil conversation through disagreement and talking through it, even if you have to agree to disagree, no longer exists. Now, do I want to be friends with these guys? No. But because I may have came and corrected or pointed you to the right direction or disagreed with you on something you said, you wish harm. That's telling. That's your projection. That is very, very, very alarming. But then when you get them away from the computer in front of people, can they really say stuff like this and threaten you? No, I don't think so. I don't think they have the fucking balls. I don't think they have the fucking balls. But this is the kind of people these guys are. And then you have people similar to them. They're not the green bolts that will go and target and harass you, make 6 or 7 accounts to go in and harass you, even though you're not talking about a subject that they are been at your ass for a while, and call you brain lollipops. But you have people like that stalking you to harass, pulling up comments that you said on someone's like YouTube video or short or whatever, like 5 or 6 months ago, to continue to harass, even though you don't have any interaction with them whatsoever. Stalking, harassing, wishing harm. Stalking, harassing, wishing harm. These are the kind of people. These are the kind of people. And I can probably throw a lot more people in here. And some of you guys might know. But the brain lollipop was basically the funniest shit I've ever heard and seen and witnessed. And sometimes you got to laugh at the stupidity, right? So this right here. Stupidity? Fucking yes. But listen to these people. Take a look at what they're exposing about themselves to you. And we have this. And lately, you know, it's funny that for me, these so-called brave, tough guys only go after the woman. That's revealing in itself as well. Only go after the woman in a group of friends under the Gatekeepers Alliance. Only go after the fucking woman because, oh, they're so brave. They could show them by harassing, by stalking, wishing harm. I'm a big girl. I'm a woman. I can take care of myself, obviously. But I think it's very revealing. They reveal themselves, their character, on what they do. What they do. You know, and it's funny. You know, they don't have the balls to go after the guys. They'll half-heartedly tag like Gatekeepers Alliance or whatever, but then tag me only as an individual. And you know what? I have bigger balls than they do. And I think that's what threatens them. Because I can stand my ground. I can talk. I can continue. I don't get intimidated. I just sit there and watch and let them melt down and continue what they're doing. Because they're fucking, I'm going to say this, pussies. But to have someone like this go in here and wish harm is really telling about them, not about anybody they're wishing harm on. And it's a sad thing to say. It's a sad thing to witness. It's a sad thing that's going on right now. And we are the toxic ones, right? We are the toxic ones. Here, you guys in the chat, we are the toxic ones. Yet, this is what's going on, what you see on the screen. And what you don't see, what I don't share, maybe I've discussed it in Discord before, so some of you guys may know this already. But we are the toxic one. Let me see. As Mr. T would say, I pity the fool. I hate Woham that think, or woman that think. Let's see. They never go after Tim or Grizzy. Sometimes they push the fake Discord stuff about Melvin, but that's it. Yeah. They are threatened by you. Yeah, that's what's up with, or what's up with that? A bunch of candy asses. Exactly. Candy asses. They're candy asses that want call you brain lollipop. 100, they don't have the balls to go after Melvin or Tim or even Justin. Once in a while, they'll do a quick jab or so or whatever, and then just run away. And we got your back if they come after you. Oh, it's already happening. I'm just watching it go down. I'm not interacting or anything like that. I'm watching it go down because it exposed them more than anything else on what their intentions are. Tough guys picking on a woman, right? They are always right. Their words is gospel. You bow down to them. I don't know what you're talking about there. I saw it on Scran's post and I fucking laughed. Yes. So there's, yeah. Hey, who won the art contest? Okay. Hey, Fateful Mind. You missed the announcement. I've been sick for like last week for almost a whole week or a little over a week. So I wasn't able to do anything. Last Thursday, I forgot to announce what was going to happen. So each one of you, Scram the exception, he's going to have 2 entries, but each one of you is going to have entries. So there's 4 entries. And I'm going to do the wheel spin and stuff like that and make that announcement here soon. Not on Cap Chat, but here soon. So stay tuned for that. And I absolutely loved everybody's contribution and your theme to each character, and what you thought of the theme and how you expanded on it. So amazing stuff. Thank you for being a part of it. Are we okay? I read that one. The bad guys. Let's see here. They are scared of Mr. Grizzy. And the thing is I'm never I'm not a victim, but damn, it's like it's showing and they're revealing just on their actions. And the most wisest thing to do at times is not to respond to something, because you don't need to defend yourself when you know your own intentions and they're misinterpreting the intentions, right? And it's over. It's so fucking funny because this is all happening over if EU is canon. It is canon or not. All of it, just for that. And it's also practicing of cancel culture. Crazy, huh? And yet we are the toxic. I'm the toxic one. We are the toxic one, ladies and gents, here in the chat. Art contest. I have all unfinished sketches not ready on time. I knew I was a procrastinator extraordinaire. That's okay. If you still want to share them after you complete in my Discord, I don't know if you're a part of it yet. You can share in there. Let's see here. In the words of Obi-Wan, they have been deceived by a lie. Correct. By Disney Star Wars, a lie. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do to pull up. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and close this window because I am using my Twitter X. And so I like to keep, conversations and stuff private. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up this person's response. Let me see here. I'm surprised that it hasn't been taken down yet. All right. Let me see here. All right, I have to reshare the screen. I wish it's easier just to go through the thing that you're working through without having to close out and back in. Let's see here. Image file. Nope, wrong button. Let's see here. All right, here we go. So here's the original text that I quote retweeted. Legends purist on what he wants Legends purists to be beaten with this bat. There you go, ladies and gents. You know. And then of course we have people who are like, what did I do? And my bad for picking the better timeline. And then someone now saying Felonious are the worst. Madman openly destroys good things from both EU and canon. All they do is applause and praising. So even wishing on harm on Filoni purists. And this guy's like these guys mostly aren't miserable losers at least. So basically he's saying no, these guys, it's only the Legends are EU fans. And then, you know, we have nice to see you to admit that you hate Star Wars dipshit and stuff like that. And they go, I wasn't even born yet when they came out. Of course, we know that Gen Z are here. I like them growing up. It's okay to say the things you like aren't very good. So he is upset because people like it and he doesn't think it's very good. And so people should be beaten for it, basically harmed for it. And then me to anyone who minorly inconveniences me. So we have someone here who hates to be inconvenienced, so they should be beaten with the bat. And he agrees. So very interesting, the morality of these people, right? It's kind of funny. And it's very much sad that, you know, these people can't have a civil conversation to save their life. They'd rather take it or hurt someone for it. People who mention Mara J in a way I don't like personally, or personally don't like. And it says, we have Dark Meld here. You will be disappointed to find Lucille up your bum. So let's see here. And then of course we have this person here agreeing, and I retweeted this guy as well. He says truing. So truing, I don't know what the fuck that means. I used to be a Legends purist when I was like 17. I still don't like any of the new movies, but I enjoy Andor plus multiple new canon books. I think dismissing all the new stuff as rat lore is absurdly short-sighted. So basically, I should beat you a bat for your short-sightedness. Not to mention there's so much trash in Legends too, so I should beat you with a bat too, because the trash of Legends as well. And like that's a whole shilling thing with the bat. And then we have someone saying what? And then anyone who's saying Disney or the sequels aren't canon. So like, okay, so if you say Disney and the sequels aren't canon, you should be beat with the bats, basically. So there you go. So this is the state of the fandom here under Disney, Star Wars, and Bohr, right? And says that these commies have no morals. Treason charges for everyone. Exactly, they are projecting because EU still is respected. Yep. And let's see. Good afternoon. Yes. And Jax is a fake fan, and of course, someone with the PS every single time. Yeah. And I did really piss off someone on Twitter because I use Ambor and they fucking got so triggered by it that they kept on just going at me because it hurt their feelings so much. It was hilarious. If you follow me on Twitter, you can go back on my profile page and look at all of that conversation. It's so fucking funny. All right. They got a bat. I got my crowbar. And such loses. Remember, these are the same people who said you need to be fired if you don't take the jab. Very interesting point right there. Very interesting points right there indeed. So there you go. So let me go ahead and close this out, remove, and bring in another one. So it's like this is like, this is when Disney, then the shills shill, right? It's like this is their way of shilling, another way of their shilling to show the rats. And I have something else to share. Let's see here. And this is so funny. Thank you, Soul Assassin, for showing it to me. Let me bring this up. So I have a hater watching. I have our baby, maybe he's watching, or just baby because I shared this right here as my thumbnail. So being called out. So now he's upset. Now he is upset. That is funnier than shit right there. Oh my God. Let's see here. And Silver Ogre just upped his membership. Thank you so much. And those on Rumble, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Let's see here. And this is for this guy.
Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Bitch, sit down.
Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with them. The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama.
There we go. So there's that. You need to get out of that. Go. You cats are just crazy asses today. Crazy asses. All right, let's go ahead and remove that. Oh my gosh. Hey, United Spaces Alliance, Tim, and this goes to, and I forget to play this, but this is for the gatekeepers that are watching right
because there's
now.
A fucking gatekeeper. There's a fucking gatekeeper.
Fuck the fandom menace.
Fuck the fandom menace.
There you go. Okay, let me go ahead and share what I wanted to share before I seen what was shared with me. He's watching. Yes, he's watching. He is watching. Oh my goodness. This is hilarious. Hey, you know, say stupid shit, get called out for it, right? Say stupid shit, get called out for it. And let's see here. And I'm just going to go into this a little tiny bit. This person has had me blocked for a very, very long time. And I do call his stupid insanity out a lot of times. I know how to quote retreat behind a block. So, but the funny thing is, and I'm giving you the history, and as I'm pulling it up, the person, I guess I pissed off, and then they screenshot me, my profile picture, and said something about it. And I'm guessing he's looking at all my counters on like things about Ambor and EU stuff or what have you. And I pissed him off. And then he said something. And then later on, it was taken down. Let's see here. So basically, here it is. Again, it has been taken down. Let's see, make sure I go to it. So this is Brittany. Is intimidated that I have the freedom to create a platform to discuss real Star Wars and expose BS posts like his. He has had me blocked for a while now. Maybe your mom is old and feeble and you boss her around, so you get triggered by an adult woman. I will continue with my platform and laugh at your candy ass nonsense. So this is basically, he took it down. So I click on this, it no longer exists. He took it down. And so I did screenshot what he did because someone shared it with me, and I screenshot it because a part of the method of quote retreating behind a block is that you have to have an image with the link before, and then you have to go back and re-edit it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sharing some secrets right now for the quote retreat to happen. So he deleted the post, and here's a screenshot. So basically what he says here is, bro, you're old enough to be my mom. Go take care of your family or something. And I wish that I would have screenshot a lot of the comments that were occurring by people that I don't even know at that. but people were calling him sexist and ageist for his comment. And then someone was like, so as you get older, you still can't have a hobby, share what you love, the franchise that you love. So he's being called out by it. And so he took the shit down. Yes, he has lady glasses. I want to share that too. I forgot to save the image. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this was shared to me. And I was like, holy shit. I thought it was hilarious. Just like the brain lollipop. The brain lollipop. This guy, the brain lollipop. You know, so here we go. So like I said, I wish I would have like screen recorded and scrolled through the comments to have later, but at least I have this. And so very hilarious. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, these guys are so intimidated by male EU fans like Tim, like Purist, you know, and including Malvin and Mr. Grizz. So they go after the woman because they think, oh, she's an easy target. And boy, does it make him feel like a man, right? Oh, they feel so manly going after the woman that counters, that talks about what she loves and counters their bullshit. Doesn't like Disney Star Wars. They are so fucking brave. And you know what's funny? I'm going to go there. Like I said, my channel's not about politics or anything, but, you know, going through some of the Epstein files, there is a study that Epstein was fronting or a part of about making future generation men have low testosterone. And this was going into easier manipulation of these group of people, this gender. That also goes into the QT of LGBTQ, the influence of that, the wanting to create low testosterone in a generation of people for control. Interesting. Just think about that. With these kind of people that, you know, are being dealt with right now. They want to feel more manly. So they go after the woman. Like I said, my channel's not about politics or anything like that, but, you know, it's always good to get into what's going on in society and how crooked it is and how we are basically the test subjects of this crazy bullshit that's going on above us. And even the pandemic was a part of that. But again, I'm not going to get into these, I want to say conspiracies, but I'm not going to get into what was uncovered in the Epstein files. It's not what this is about, but it all makes fucking sense now with some of these people, how they carry on, how they act. I mostly avoid scrolling X anymore. X leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. X is the path to the dark side. That's why us Sith will go ahead and remain in and take care of that shit, right? That's let's see here. Makes total sense with these shills. All the stuff in the Epstein files has been happening for decades, correct? They've been planning this. The long game is their approach. Authentic. None of them listen. What? The Green Dolt Club is legit a gay inclusive club. There you go. Okay, so move on. Let's go because like I said, we have a cringe factor is a multitude of different things. It's a multitude of different things. Let me see here. Now, what else? Let's see here. Let's see here. What do I want to bring up? I have a multitude of things. Where did it go? But there's one thing I really wanted to talk about. Did I put it in here? I did not. I have my own little DM chat room where I put in any Twitter stuff that I want to share with you guys as a subject, so I can go there instead of scrolling up in a conversation that had shared with me. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to scroll up here. So give me some. I'm gonna play this while I look for it because I thought I had already prepared it, ready to go. That's my fault. That's my fault. All right. So let's get into talking about EU. Here we go.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the expanded universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The expanded universe respects the reader. In the expanded universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the expanded universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the expanded universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
Long live the expanded universe. And Matt Wilkins, like he has the Defending the EU playlist on his channel, and he is phenomenal in breaking down that the EU is a part of the saga and has always been canon to the saga, to George Lucas, the movies, all of that. So you can go check out those clips. And from the beginning of the acquisition of basically Lucasfilm, because it's not only Star Wars, it's Lucasfilm, right? There has been a front on basically creating revisionist history on the EU being or not being canon, basically not being canon. So that is a study that I want to sit down and do because it's all there. It is all there. They left a time period between 2012 and 2014 on the EU be still remaining canon. However, they were planning it already. And Tim has shared this theory about their first EU novel for Disney being written. And it's not a theory. It actually was written during the time before the announcement in 2014 about the EU being tossed, rebranded, and that they're clearing the way for their version of their canon or their lore. Now, so they're basically clean slate. So if the EU wasn't canon, then why would they have to create a clean slate when they can just continue telling their stories without anything interrupting their stories within the timeline? And I don't think people understand that. That only way lore can be a quote unquote inconvenience to you is when it's canon. You have to basically toss it and discontinue it, stop making it so that you can produce canon within that time frame that you're tossing, meaning canon. Meaning canon. They announced it in 2013. I thought it was 2014. I thought it was always 2014. But anyways, when they announced it, yeah. Let's see here. We didn't know what Rebels was. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought it was 2014. So, but go ahead and share that information on the 2013 because I know the announcement on the page was 2014, right? April 2014. But anyways, so if there was an earlier one that I missed, I apologize. And 2013. So within a year time frame, not 2 years. So slightly off. Always thought it was 2014. But anyways, so let's move on to this next one I'm going to share here. Let's see here. Is this the one that I want? Yes. All right. So here we go. This is the main cringe factor. There we go. There we go. Where'd it go? There we go. All right. So I thought this was funny. So this is more of a laugh than a cringe factor, maybe, but also cringe maybe in the fact that maybe this person shouldn't have done something without the sanction of Lucasfilm or Disney. But anyways, Steven Soderbergh says he wasted 2.5 years on his Star Wars film, The Hunt for Ben Solo. And he says here, I made the movie in my head and just felt bad that nobody else was going to get to see it. It's insane. We're all very disappointed. So he made this on his own, proposed it, and Disney shot it down. Disney shot it down. And so now he's crying in the background about it because I made this all up in my head. I didn't really talk with them if it's possible to do such a story, considering maybe their continuity on the character being alive or not. And now I'm so very disappointed because it was shot down when I presented it to Disney. And you have a lot of cope going on behind this. A lot of cope. And I believe there's someone's, I've seen it, but basically, and it's common, a lot of this direction here. Well, maybe Filoni will now take pity on them and bring it to the front to produce it, whatever. So we have this coping mechanism going on now with even the so-called creator who was like, I'm going to write the story about the hunt for Ben Solo, despite knowing continuity, maybe, I don't know. Despite being sanctioned by Lucasfilm themselves, bringing him in to do a story, I don't know. Because this is a very independent project that was presented after the fact, after they put together the story, right? It's very independent, I guess you could say. And Kennedy liked it. She was for it. But her bosses are like, nope, not going to happen. So whose fault is it? It's his. Because he wasn't really brought in by Lucasfilm to create a story. He did this on his own. Okay, I guess with Adam Driver. Because that's the gist of this. Because Adam had this idea of this story. So who really made it then? Adam or Steven? Because they said, oh, it's Adam's story. It's his idea. He's been working on this. But now we have Steven right here saying that he created all of this in his head. So there's a little conflict here, right? There's a little conflict. How could someone then create it in his head, but then Adam Driver say, this is the movie that I wanted to make, that I proposed? Kind of weird, right? Kind of weird. Kind of off on the dynamics here. Like, whose story was this? And so if this was created in someone's head, then how did Adam come up with it? I thought it was the gun for Ben Solo, and it meant Rey. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Holy crap. That was a good one. Disney shills act like Order 66 targeted EU fans. Oh my god, the hunt for the sword of the Jedi. Okay. The entire story is about Ben Solo going on full on Where's Waldo? He hides in plain sight. It's very odd. Very, very odd. So smash the like. Let's see here. The perfect world, in a perfect world, it would have been neat to see Adam Driver as Jason Solo, but such is life. Haha. I don't want to see none of that right now. Not who owns, not even, I don't care if there's a new CEO and there's new president and co-president of Lucasfilm. So she would Dave Filoni involved? Fuck no. Fuck no, because, you know, he may say stuff like this. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Where is it going? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we go. Here it is.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans. Because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. You know, I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
That's rude. So you have him saying this. It's rude to change and bastardize characters, but yet he does it. And then he justifies it with their campfires. That it's okay, the story can evolve here and move to the next campfire and it says something different. That's okay, right? That's what Sam Witwer said as well. Sam is like a lapdog for Filoni right now. It's quite funny. Quite funny indeed. So it's been quite a few days for me on Twitter. And in basically the realm of George Lucas era Star Wars and my platform and all this, with people deciding that, or no, the people getting triggered by me. And giving me more material and making me realize that these guys are fucking insane, right? They are fucking insane. And calling their shit out. I have plans for something in the future. I'm not going to reveal, but I'm going Knights of Malvin on some issues. And you know how he does his documentaries and stuff like that, and his research, he just lays in the background, letting things play out to collect more material. So I'm going to go basically on my fellow friend. I'm going to do a Knights of Malvin documentary here soon. So stay tuned. All right. With that being said, Cringe Factor, quite the event of things happening. Oh my God. Like there was a multitude of things. Yeah. But with that being said, this is the state of Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, and their fans. Whether they're fence riders saying, oh, I love the EU, but it's still bad. I prefer whatever. So fucking what? But to go and wish harm on someone because they disagree with you, that's fucking bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. And if you get your jollies off of making yourself feel like a man or whatever you consider yourself at for going after a woman, well, you're so brave. You're so brave. Your mom must be proud of you. I mean, but I hear that she has a hard time making other guys feel like men. So maybe that's where you get it from. So with that being said, we're going to close out here. Stay tuned to Spacing tonight, 8:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless he adjusted the time around that time frame. Stay tuned for that. And then this Sunday, I'm going to be on Pierre's channel, and we're going to discuss Star Wars there, going through, we're going to get, like, I know what we're going to talk about because I was in the conversation. Holy shit. But anyways, we're going to be talking about Path of Deception, I think. Isn't that what we're talking about? Yes. And so stay tuned for that. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I know. I'm like, we're going to talk about Bane. We're talking about Bane. And so stay tuned for that. I will have more information. That's on Rumble. Don't be a Rumbleist. Go over there, follow every single one of the Gatekeepers Alliance. I haven't had a chance to put everybody's link down here in the description. I will, after I'm done here, follow and also subscribe. Subscribe is membership. Following is subscription. So there's just a little different lingo there, but all the same thing. And my next installment of Talking EU will be up on Rumble as a premiere here pretty soon, within the day or two. I do have some of that already premiered on there because at the time when my channel, everything was linked together before everything changed on Rumble and for StreamYards and stuff like that. So I do have some up already. So whatever Talking EU I don't have will be premiered there. So stay tuned for that. One of them is going to come up. I will announce which one. Be there for the conversation. It's very neat. It's very fun, exciting to sit down and talk with someone about the EU, how they got into it, their favorite character, have some fun little quizzes for them, and just, you know, basically nerd out on George Lucas era of Star Wars. So stay tuned for that as well. And with that being said, my weekend's going to be busy. I'm going to be down. I'm going to be at a round dance. It's a Native American like gathering, round dance, fun stuff. So I'll be there Saturday, home Sunday, in time to be on Pierre's channel on Rumble. So yeah. So with that being said, oh yeah, and the announcement of the winner of the OG art challenge, who wins a print of their choice of mine, will be done within either today or by tomorrow for sure. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, all of you brain lollipops out there, have a good day and stay tuned for Scran's live on Monday. That should be fun. And thank you guys again for your continued support. If you're catching the replay, thank you for listening in through the whole time frame. You guys are fucking amazing. And I will talk with you guys later. Have a good day or night wherever you are in the world.
Another happy landing.